Alright, Pop Pickers, D to the Z, DongzillerUK here, and today I'm talking all things football. Basically, just want to quickly go over the transfer window that's just finished. Basically, look at each club, see what wheelings and dealings they've done this time round, who's come in, who's gone out, and who I think is going to struggle this year, and who I think is going to do well. So, the transfer window is just shut. My team, Liverpool, had a shocker, but we'll get to them. We'll start with Arsenal. So, basically, Arsenal, there's been some major goings and some major comings. First, we'll have a look at the comings-ins. First player they've had come in is Lucas Podolski, Oliver Giroud, and Santi Cazorla. All three of them were very good players. But I mean, they're all going to bring something exceptional to the Premier League. Santi Cazorla is an absolutely superb player. I used to watch him a lot in La Liga for Malaga last season, and that boy's got some skill. He's going to be one to watch. You mark my words, he's going to be a great player. But looking at the players that they've lost Van Persie, who scored them God knows how many goals last season. They basically kept them going. And Alex Song as well is a bit of a loss. But Arsenal, what do I think? Top four, there or thereabouts. Gotta be. Wenger won't let them go any further than that. And now we move on to Aston Villa. Now Villa, I think, are really going to struggle this year. But let's have a look. I mean, you look at the people they've brought in, there's nobody that stands out there. They brought Brett Holman in from AZ Alkmaar. They brought Karim El Ahmadi from Feyenoord. Matthew Lawton from Sheffield United. Ron Vlaar, who's basically just a cover for... Well, not a cover, he's a replacement for James Collins, who went to West Ham. And you look at the people that have come and gone, and that team has not improved at all. I mean, they've even sent Nathan Del Fuenzo off on loan to Blackpool, and I thought he was quite a promising young forward, to be honest. I thought he'd have got a bit more of a chance this year, but I think Villa are going to be definitely bottom half, maybe... Well, definitely struggling. I think there could be relegation fodder this year unless they're not careful. Next club to look at is Chelsea. Now Chelsea obviously won the Champions League last season. I've had a lot of incomings and outgoings. Let's have a look at the incomings first. So they've had Eden Hazard come in, they've had Marco Marin come in, they've had Cesar Azpilicueta from Marseille, they've had Victor Moses come in as well. All good young players, these. Eden Hazard looks exceptionally good from the first few games of the season I've seen. He looks like he's going to be a bit of a class player. So I think Chelsea might just slip under the radar. You know, people are talking about the Manchester clubs, but I think Chelsea really, if they can get a bit of form going, they'll be there or thereabouts. Definitely top four this year. You look at the players that have left. They've lost Didier Drogba, Bosinga, Kalou, average player. Well, obviously not Didier Drogba, but he's in the twilight of his career, Drogba. But Bosinga was never a great defender. Kalou he was just a squad player, wasn't he? To be fair, he didn't really bring a lot. SCN going on loan to Real Madrid was a bit of a shocker. I think he's a class. I don't know, since he had that bad injury, he's not really been the same player he was, I suppose. But I think they'll do well this year. So let's move on to the next club, is Everton. And they've had some pretty shrewd business this year, I think. Naismith on a free's come in. Pino's come back from Tottenham. They've had Moreles come in from Olympiacos, who was scoring goals for fun in the Greek league. And then a couple of other squad players that they've brought in that I've not really seen, like Brian Oviedo from Copenhagen, I don't really know a lot about. But Everton will be top half. They won't be top four, but they'll be top half. There's no way they'll finish any lower than 10th. Players gone. They've lost a couple of players. They lost Tim Cahill to New York, and they lost Jack Rodwell to Man City. But I don't think they're going to miss them that much. Cahill was in the twilight of his career. He's definitely on the downturn. And Rodwell, I thought, was always overrated. I don't know, they were always touting him for Man United, and I always thought he was a bit... I don't know, he's a bit not as good as they think he is. So now we go on to Fulham. And Fulham, they've had some comings in, some goings outs. They'll probably be mid-table this year. Players that have come in, Mladen Petric from Hamburg. Hugo Rodallega coming from a free from Wigan. They brought in Kieran Richardson. Berbatov, that could be a good bit of business if he finds a bit of form. I mean, he's been struggling at Manchester United for a few seasons. But look at the players that they've had going out. They've lost Clint Dempsey, he was supposed to go to Liverpool, but that deal never materialised and ended up going to Tottenham at the last minute by the sounds of it. Andrew Johnson, they let go on a free. He still had a bit to offer, I thought, Johnson. And then the biggest loss for me has got to be Moussa Dembele. He looked absolute class at the beginning of the season. Tottenham have come in for him. So Fulham, mid-table. Now we move on to my club, Liverpool, who have had the most shocking transfer window I can remember. I can honestly say this is the worst Liverpool team I've seen in my 29 years. But players they've brought in, Fabio Borini from Roma. Doesn't know how he's going to cope for me. Joe Allen's looks a good player. They brought him from Swansea, and they've brought Nuri Sahin in from Real Madrid on loan. A couple of other youngsters that they've brought in as well, one from Heerenveen, Usama Saidi, and Samad Yesil from Bayer Leverkusen. One to the future maybe, but players that they've let go. They've lost Alberto Aquilani, they've lost Dirk Kuyt. I mean, Dirk Kuyt was no prolific scorer, but the lad would play his heart out. He would give you 90 minutes, 100%, and you couldn't really fault him for it. I mean, the biggest shock for me is Andy Carroll going on loan to West Ham. What the hell was Rodgers thinking? He's now got 2 forwards, 2 first-team forwards. If one of them gets injured, what's he going to do? It's bizarre. And the other major goings out, Jay Spearing went to Bolton on loan. I don't think Jay Spearing can cut the Premiership. He's not at that level. And Charlie Adams gone to Stoke. Again, didn't really work out for Charlie Adams, so it's not much of a shock, that one. Moving on to Man City. And they've brought in Jack Rodwell, who I think's overrated. I think they've overpaid. I think he won't do much. He'll be a squad player at best. Scott Sinclair from Swansea, again another promising young player. I don't think he's going to get much playing time at Man City. They brought Maicon in from Inter Milan, who's well past his best. Gareth Bale absolutely ripped him apart in the Champions League for Tottenham. Richard Wright's come in as cover as third choice goalkeeper. They brought in that young defender from Fiorentina, Matej Nastasic, and Stefan Savic has gone the other way. Javi Garcia was the biggest sign, I think, from Benfica. He looks a class player. Players going out, they've lost Nigel de Jong. Adam Johnson's gone. De Jong went to Milan, AC Milan. Adam Johnson went to Sunderland. Adebayor finally made his move to Tottenham permanent. Wayne Bridge has gone to Brighton on loan. They've let Owen Hargreaves go, one of the strangest signings you'll ever see. I don't know why the hell they brought him in. Rocky Santa Cruz has gone to Malaga on loan. City, they haven't really strengthened for me. I think they'll be top 1 or 2. They're definitely going to be up there. There's no way they're not going to be. They've got some class players. But I don't know if they're going to win or not. I think Man United might win this league. Just from the players they've brought in, they've done a bit of shrewd business, Man U. But we'll see. So the next club we are actually looking at is Man U. And they've brought in, they have strengthened this year massively. The biggest signing of the summer was just Robin Van Persie from Arsenal. I mean, what a coup that was. The lad's a born goal scorer. He will score goals for fun. He will do well at Man U. I have no question about that. They've also brought in Kagawa from Borussia Dortmund, who looks a class act. Good little winger. They've got Nick Powell from Crewe, who looks a promising young forward. And they brought in that Alexander Butner from Vitesse, who looks like he's going to be a replacement forever eventually. He's a decent pacey left back. But yeah, they've strengthened well. I mean, the biggest is Van Persie, obviously, and Kagawa. I think them two are going to add a little something. I think if Van Persie's firing on all cylinders, they'll win this league. They'll win it at a canter as well. Players that have gone. Michael Owen's gone on a free, past his best. By the time he concentrated on horse racing, his footballing days are pretty much over. Ji-Sung Park has gone to QPR. And Berbatov went to Fulham. That was it, really. Not much business at Man U this season. A couple of big names going out, and that was it, really. But they'll be there. I think they'll win this league. I think they're pretty much nailed on to win. Unless City get a bit of form, but City can be a bit up and down, but we'll see. So we move on to Newcastle. And they haven't really done much business this transfer period, to be honest, Newcastle. They brought in Werner Anita from Ajax, who's a decent little midfielder if he can settle in quick enough. But apart from that, they've brought in a couple of youth players, but nothing major. Players going out, they've got rid of Lovenkratz, past his best. No shocks there. Fraser Forster finally made his transfer complete from Celtic for permanent. And Leon Best went to Blackburn and then got injured for the whole season. I think he's out for quite a while. Bad bit of business for Blackburn. Oh, they also released Alan Smith. No surprises there. I think he spent last season on loan at MK Dons, so not really surprised he hasn't been offered a new contract. So on to Norwich. They've brought in Stephen Whittaker from Rangers on a free. Good little bit of business. Best signing for me for them is Robert Snodgrass. I think if he plays as well as he did for Leeds, I think they'll stay up. Norwich just about. I think they'll be down the bottom, but they'll scrape in. They've also brought in Alexander Tete from Rennes, who's a good midfielder. Sebastian Besson from Tottenham, quality defender. Javier Garrido from Lazio on loan. He's a good player. Harry Kane from Tottenham on loan as well. He's a good little forward, Harry Kane. I've seen him play. I think he'll do well. Anyone big going out from Norwich? Let me just have a quick look. Not really. Zach Whitbread got released. End of his contract. That was it really. And Daniel Ayala has gone to Nottingham Forest on loan. That young lad they brought from Liverpool last season. Nothing more. Oh, they brought Michael Turner in as well from Sunderland. I forgot about him. Yeah, I think he'll do well to strengthen their defence. I think they'll be alright. I think Norwich will survive this year, just about. They will scrape it. So on to QPR, and QPR have spent some big money, and they haven't spent some big money. I should rephrase that. They've brought in a lot of players, and a lot of players go as well. Robert Green they brought in on a free. Andy Johnson from Fulham on a free. They brought in Ryan Nelson from Tottenham on a free. They brought in Samba Diakite from Nancy. Fabio's come from Man U on loan. Ji-sung Park has come from Man U as well. Junior Hoylett came from Blackburn. He looked good last season. They brought in Bosingwa on a free from Chelsea. Julio Cesar from Inter Milan. Granero from Real Madrid. He's a good player. And Stefan Mbaye from Marseille. Joey Barton going the other way. I think they'll be alright, QPR. I think they've had a bit of a bad run to start with, but I think they'll be fine. Yeah, they should be alright this season. Players that have gone out, nobody massive really. Fitzall, Danny Gabidon, Danny Shitty, all released. Squad players. Perhaps was the biggest one going out is Joey Barton, but there's no surprises there after his antics against Man City last season. So Reading have brought a few in. They brought Danny Guthrie in on a free from Newcastle. He's quite good. Pavel Pogrebniak that was on from Fulham on a freebie. Nicky Shorey's coming on a free. They could be alright for Fulham. Reading should be alright. They play a good bit of football. Nobody big gone out really from Reading. They should be. I think they'll be down the bottom, but I think they'll stay up. So Southampton, I think Southampton will struggle this year. I think they could be bottom three. The biggest player they've brought in is Stephen Davis from Rangers on a free, and they brought in Nathaniel Klein as well from Crystal Palace, and Jay Rodriguez from Burnley. Good players, but they brought in Gaston Ramirez on the final day. I forgot about him. Apparently Liverpool were tight with Gaston Ramirez. Apparently he's a good player, Ramirez. Not seen him play yet, but if they get a few of their players playing well, I think they'll be alright. Nobody big's gone out from Southampton. They'll be bottom 3-4 unless Ramirez starts playing well. They're going to struggle, I think. So Stoke have brought in Charlie Adam from Liverpool, Maurice Edu from Rangers, and Steven Nzonzi from Blackburn. Players going out. Ricardo Fuller's gone off on a free. That's about it really. Jonathan Woodgate went to Middlesbrough on a free. Stoke will be mid-table, same as usual. They brought Jeff Cameron in as well from Houston Dynamo. He looked quite good. They'll be alright, Stoke. They'll be mid-table, I think. So Sunderland brought Louis Sahar in, Stephen Fletcher in, Adam Johnson from Man City, Danny Rose from Tottenham on loan, and Carlos Quella on a free transfer. Players they've let go: Michael Turner's gone to Norwich, Kieran Richardson's gone to Fulham. Martin O'Neill will keep them mid-table, not a problem. Swansea, they've brought in some good players. That Michu looks a class act. Who else has he brought in? He's brought in Ki-Sung Young from Celtic. He looks good. Pablo Hernandez from Valencia. He's a great player. I've seen him play. He's a good winger. I think he'll add some. Jonathan de Guzman on loan from Villarreal. He's a good player. So players going out. Basically the biggest one there is Scott Sinclair to Man City and Joe Allen to Liverpool. But I don't think they'll have a problem. Swansea, I think they'll be alright. I think they'll be another mid-table team. On to Tottenham. I think Tottenham might have a bit of trouble this year. I think they're definitely not going to be top 4. Players they've let go. Just so many that have gone out. Obviously Ledley King's retired, so he's gone. Pinar's gone back to Everton. Basong went to Norwich. Modric went to Real Madrid. They're going to miss him. This Rafael van der Vaart to Hamburg as well. I can't believe they let Van der Vaart go, to be honest. He was their best player last season. Who else has gone? Let's have a look. Granquiar's gone. Chorluka's gone. Ryan Nelson went on a free. Who they brought in? They brought in Gylfi Sigurdsson from Hoffenheim. They brought Jan Vertonghen in from Ajax. They've brought in Adebayor from City. He was already on loan there last season. They brought in Dembele. He looks good. Hugo Lloris is coming from Lyon, and Clint Dempsey from Fulham. They've done a bit of decent business, but Luka Modric is going to be a big loss. He is going to be a big loss. I think they're going to be top half, but they're not going to be top 4. So on to West Brom, and West Brom haven't done much business really. The only players that have gone out is Simon Cox to Forest. They've got Lukaku in from Chelsea on loan. That's about it really. Nothing much happened in West Brom, but they're playing well. I think they'll be bottom half though. I think they could get roped in quite easily, get roped into a relegation battle. So West Ham have been busy. They've brought in Jussi Escalainen on a free from Bolton, Mohamed Diame from Wigan on a free, George McCartney from Sunderland has gone back, James Collins from Villa, Andy Carroll on loan from Liverpool, sorry, Jose Benayoun on loan from Chelsea. Yeah, not many gone out either. They haven't lost many. Looking at that, just a few free released like John Carew and stuff like that. Plays at the end of the career. He's strengthened well, Big Sam. Bottom half, I think. And Wigan, finally, Wigan. They've brought in that Aruna Kone. He looks like he could be good. Ryomi Archie's come in from Arsenal on loan. Ivan Ramis from Real Mallorca has come in. Biggest losses for them, obviously Diame going to West Ham and Hugo Rodallega going to Fulham on a free. I think Wigan will be down there. Oh, and Victor Moses obviously going out to Chelsea. They'll be down the bottom. They'll definitely be bottom 3, 4. So that's it for this summer transfer period. That's all the transfers discussed and all the club's business. That'll be it now till January. So let's kick back, watch a few football matches and enjoy your football, people.